Hey there, today we're going to dive deep into the world of grain mills and the different settings that they offer. So if you're a seasoned pro or just starting out, choosing the right grind size can make a difference in your final product. So from a very coarse grind, which will make a very hearty bread, to the ultra-fine flour that mills can produce for those nice pastries we want to make. We're going to discuss all of that today in this video. So grab your favorite grains and let's get to grinding. I have just regular old hard red wheat here. I chose this because it has more of a gold tone to it when you grind it, so you'll be able to see the difference in the coarseness easier. All right, so this is my Como Mio. I have it currently all the way at the ultra fine setting. Now, to find that setting, what you need to do is turn your mill on, and then you're going to turn the hopper while it's empty all the way to where right before you hear the two stones hit. And it's okay if they hit once. Once you hear those stones just tap, take it back one click, and that's your ultra fine setting. Now, if you have a Nutri-Mill or a Wonder Mill, you're not going to have these dots and so forth that you see down here. You're going to have a knob that has the like a little swoosh that goes around the curve of the knob. And the ultra setting is where it goes all the way to the very tip of that triangle swish. And the coarseness is going to be right as you turn it on. So I'm going to go ahead and grind some of my wheat. I'm only going to be using like a couple tablespoons per setting that I'm going to do. And for every single one of these dots, so I'm going to do the coarsest right now, which you can use for cereals if you'd like, and make a really, really hearty bread. That will be somewhat right here for me. Okay, that's my coarse setting. Now I'm going to then skip to and grind again for you so that you can see the progression of how it gets to fine flour. So I will end on this ultra fine flour setting for you. So I'm going to go ahead and grind, and then we'll come back and you'll see all of the flour here on my board, and then we'll get to talking. Okay, so I went ahead and grinded all of the different settings that I kind of feel like where it changes the most. I had to do 3 or 4 clicks between them because the grind you really couldn't tell that much a difference with. So I just want to clear the air with that. And then I wanted to go over just a few quick things about a grain mill that are the do's and don'ts. You do not add grain into your mill until it is turned on, no matter what it is. Because what that can do is it can jam the hopper, which then causes to where you have to sometimes flip the machine over to get all of the grain out because it gets stuck between the plates. That has happened to me. Specifically, it's happened to my husband. He didn't listen to me, but that's okay. And luckily, we got it started and it was able to finish milling. But now he knows. Secondly, you can turn it on and put the grain in and then adjust your settings if you would like as well. I prefer to go ahead and turn the mill on, adjust my settings because I kind of know how fine or coarse my model will do based on these dots and where it's at, where the circle is, the indicator right here. So I really don't have to guess, but until you get to know your grain mill, you can go ahead, turn it on, add your grains, and adjust the settings for kind of what you need. Certain grain mills, mine specifically, the stone ones mostly, you cannot grind any kind of oily grain. Don't put flax seeds in it. Don't put coffee beans in it to grind it because that's going to put a buildup on and then stuff is going to stick and it's going to jam your machine. There are grain mills that you can also throw in and grind the more oily grains, but read your manual. For instance, the Como book here, which comes with all your grain mills, it will tell you what the machine can handle, whether it's soft grain, hard grains, oily seeds, which is your oats, your flax seeds, and so forth, spices, legumes, and your coffee beans. Some of them can do it all, some of them cannot. Just make sure you read your manual that comes with it. One other thing I wanted to bring up is that there is a difference between a grain mill and a flaker. A flaker you can use to mostly make like cereal. I like to think of it as rolling my own oats for oatmeal. I don't personally have a flaker. I would love to have one. Maybe I'll be able to get somebody, like a sponsor or somebody, to help me get that, and I can hopefully demo that and talk about that as well sometime down the road. Okay, so let's get back to the main focus, which is the different grind settings of a grain mill. Now, for my Como Mio, this one in the back here is the most coarse grind. All right, I'm going to move it around so you can kind of see the different level of coarseness. You could do this as like cracked wheat or some kind of cracked berries, to where you can kind of serve it instead of rice if you'd like. Now, moving down the settings, so I'm going to kind of try to point here. So this was the coarse setting, which was right here, and I went down to about here for the next one. And this is kind of more for like the hearty breads and so forth, you could use it for. And then I went down to the center, which is right around in here where my Como Mio sign is. This was actually the original one that I started making. My freshly milled wheat bread was actually in the center right here because it gave it a little bit more texture, but it didn't make it fluffy like my kids liked. So I had to make it finer. So then, like I said, that was this one. So we moved down a couple more, a little bit, which was kind of in between these two dots. And this is what I mill mine now at, and it helps make the bread a little lighter. And then we go down a little bit more here, and then we have the more ultra fine, towards the more ultra fine here. And this is kind of what I would make pie crust with a little bit. Maybe actually kind of more in between this one and that one. But this is about where I have done pie crust. I'm still experimenting with that. So don't take my word on that. I will admit that. I haven't perfected it yet. Like I said, and then I moved down a little bit more, and I think I might try this one for my pie crust nest. But I have used this. This is about the setting I use for my quick breads. So muffins, banana bread, cinnamon bread, and so forth. And if you guys ever want to see me make some of these and kind of walk you through it, let me know down in the comments below, and I will gladly do that for you. And then all the way over here, which this dot, if you notice, is a little bit past this corner, is the ultra fine setting. And this is what you would use for like your pastries. A lot of your pastries you could probably, I wonder if I could do croissants with that, honestly, if I think about it. I wonder how hard that would be. Note for later. This will be for like your pastries and so forth, would be this fine setting. It's really, really smooth, the ultra fine is. You can't really feel the different grain in it. And then this is this one, the ultra fine setting, and the one that was right before it, you can also use for like cakes. So you can sift away some of the bran and make like a cake out of it as well, just so that you know. Now, if you have any other kind of questions, drop them down in the comments below, and I will definitely try to answer them for you. And I think YouTube thinks you want to click this video.